accursed slime. But reverence him who commands, I speak. Reverence him whose sepulchre you have vowed to rescue. Revere the oath of concord which you have sworn, and break not the silver cord of union and fidelity with which you have bound yourself to your princely confederates." "Good father," said the king, "you of the church seem to me to presume somewhat, if a layman may say so much, upon the dignity of your holy character. Without challenging your right to take charge of our conscience, methinks you might leave us the charge of our own honour." "Presume!" replied the hermit. "It is for me to presume, royal Richard, who am but the bell obeying the hand of the sexton, but the senseless and worthless trumpet carrying the command of him who sounds it. See, on my knees I throw myself before thee, imploring thee to have mercy on Christendom, on England, and on thyself." "Rise, rise," said Richard, compelling him to stand up. "It beseems not that knees, which are so frequently bended to the Deity, should press the ground in honour of man. What danger awaits us, reverend father? And when stood the power of England so low that the noisy bluster of this new-made duke's displeasure should alarm her or her monarch? I have looked forth from my mountain turret upon the starry host of heaven, as each in his midnight circuit uttered wisdom to another, and knowledge to the few who can understand their voice. There sits an enemy in thy house of life, Lord King, malign at once to thy fame and thy prosperity, an emanation of Saturn, menacing thee with instant and bloody peril, and which, but thou yield thy proud will to the rule of thy deity, will presently crush thee even in thy pride." "Away, away, this is heathen science," said the king. "Christians practise it not, wise men believe it not. Old man, thou dotest." "I dote not, Richard," answered the hermit. "I am not so happy. I know my condition, and that some portion of reason is yet permitted me, not for my own use, but that of the church and the advancement of the cross. I am the blind man who holds a torch to others, though it yields no light to himself. Ask me touching what concerns the weal of Christendom and of this crusade, and I will speak with thee as the wisest counsellor on whose tongue persuasion ever sat. Speak to me of my own wretched being, and my words shall be those of the maniac outcast which I am. I would not break the band of unity asunder among the princes of the Crusade," said Richard, with a mitigated tone and manner. "But what atonement can they render me for the injustice and insult which I have sustained?" "Even of that I am prepared and commissioned to speak by the Council, which, meeting hastily at the summons of Philip of France, have taken measures for that effect." "Strange," replied Richard, "that others should treat of what is due to the wounded majesty of England." "They are willing to anticipate your demands, if it be possible," answered the hermit. "In a body, they consent that the banner of England be replaced on St. George's Mount, and they lay under ban and condemnation the audacious criminal, or criminals, by whom it was outraged, and will announce a princely reward to any who shall denounce the delinquent's guilt, and give his flesh to the wolves and ravens." "And Austria," said Richard, "upon whom rest such strong presumptions that he was the author of the deed?" "To prevent discord in the host," replied the hermit, "Austria will clear himself of the suspicion by submitting to whatsoever order the Patriarch of Jerusalem shall impose." "Will he clear himself by the trial by combat?" said King Richard. "His oath prohibits it," said the hermit, "and, moreover, the council of the princes—" "Will neither authorize battle against the Saracens," interrupted Richard, "nor against any one else. But it is enough, father. Thou hast shown me the folly of proceeding as I designed in this matter. You shall sooner light your torch in a puddle of rain than bring a spark out of a cold-blooded coward. There is no honour to be gained on Austria, and so let him pass. I will have him perjure himself, however. I will insist on the ordeal. How I shall laugh to hear his clumsy fingers hiss as he grasps a red-hot globe of iron. Ay, or his huge mouth riven, and his gullet swelling to suffocation as he endeavours to swallow the consecrated bread." "Peace, Richard," said the hermit. "Oh, peace, for shame, if not for charity. Who shall praise or honour princes who insult and calumniate each other? Alas, that a creature so noble as thou art, so accomplished in princely thoughts and princely daring, so fitted to honour Christendom by thy actions, and, in thy calmer mood, to rule her by thy wisdom, should yet have the brute and wild fury of the lion mingled with the dignity and courage of that king of the forest." He remained an instant musing with his eyes fixed on the ground, and then proceeded, "But Heaven, that knows our imperfect nature, accepts of our imperfect obedience, and hath delayed, though not averted, the bloody end of thy daring life. The destroying angel hath stood still, as of old by the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite, and the blade is drawn in his hand, by which, at no distant date, Richard, the lion-hearted shall be as low as the meanest peasant." "Must it then be so soon?" said Richard. "Yet, even so be it. May my course be bright, if it be but brief." "Alas, noble King," said the Solitary, and it seemed as if a tear, unwonted guest, were gathering in his dry and glazened eye, "short and melancholy, marked with mortification and calamity and captivity, is the span that divides thee from the grave which yawns for thee, a grave in which thou shalt be laid without lineage to succeed thee, without the tears of a people, exhausted by thy ceaseless wars, to lament thee, without having extended the knowledge of thy subjects, without having done aught to enlarge their happiness." "But not without renown, monk, not without the tears of the lady of my love. These consolations, which thou canst neither know nor estimate, await upon Richard to his grave." "Do I not know? Can I not estimate the value of minstrel's praise and of lady's love?" retorted the hermit. "Do I not know? Can I not estimate the value of minstrel's praise and of lady's love?" retorted the hermit, in a tone which for a moment seemed to emulate the enthusiasm of Richard himself. "King of England," he continued, extending his emaciated arm, "the blood which boils in thy blue veins is not more noble than that which stagnates in mine. Few and cold as the drops are, they still are of the blood of the royal Lusignan, of the heroic and sainted Godfrey. I am, that is, I was when in the world, Alberic Mortemar." "Whose deeds," said Richard, "have so often filled fame's trumpet? Is it so? Can it be so? Could such a light as thine fall from the horizon of chivalry, and yet men be uncertain where its embers have alighted?" "Seek a fallen star," said the hermit, "and thou shalt only light on some foul jelly, which, in shooting through the horizon, has assumed for a moment an appearance of splendour. Richard, if I thought that rending the bloody veil from my horrible fate could make thy proud heart stoop to the discipline of the church, I could find in my heart to tell thee a tale, which I have hitherto kept gnawing at my vitals in concealment, like the self-devoted youth of heathenesse. Listen then, Richard, and may the grief and despair which cannot avail this wretched remnant of what was once a man be as powerful as an example to so noble, yet so wild, a being as thou art. Yes, I will tear open the long-hidden wounds, although in thy very presence they should bleed to death." Richard, upon whom the history of Alberic of Mortemar had made a deep impression in his early years, when minstrels were regaling his father's halls with legends of the Holy Land, listened with respect to the outlines of a tale, which, darkly and imperfectly sketched, indicated sufficiently the cause of the partial insanity of this singular and most unhappy being. "I need not," he said, "tell thee that I was noble in birth, high in fortune, strong in arms, wise in counsel. All this I was. But, while the noblest ladies in Palestine strove which should wind garlands from my helmet, my love was fixed, unalterably and devotedly fixed, on a maiden of low degree. Her father, an ancient soldier of the cross, saw our passion, and, knowing the difference betwixt us, saw no other refuge for his daughter's honour than to place her within the shadow of the cloister. I returned from a distant expedition, loaded with spoils and honour, to find my happiness was destroyed for ever. I too sought the cloister, and Satan, who had marked me for his own, breathed into my heart a vapour of spiritual pride, which could only have